New entrance.
Today we are going to talk to you about the only tour we did on our trip to Disney World.
Yes.
Which was the Keys to the Kingdom tour.
Which is the tour, which is like the main tour,
Yeah.
which takes place in Magic Kingdom.
Yes, so this tour shows you some of the secrets that Magic Kingdom has on stage, and also shows you some of the secrets it has off stage.
Just to be clear, on stage is what you see when you walk around the parks. Off stage is behind the scenes.
Yes, or backstage, or however they want to call it.
Just as a disclaimer, this video we won't be spoiling any of it for anyone. We're just going to go through our experiences, what the tour generally consists of, but we're not going to tell you the gory details of what is told, because obviously it's a good thing to experience. We do really recommend the tour. It's just something you should experience yourself.
Indeed.
So to begin with, the Keys to the Kingdom tour is not cheap. It is about $79 each, and it is a 5-hour walking tour of the Magic Kingdom. So it's a long time, and I think we took the tour from 8:30.
8:30, yeah.
And I think there's 2 or 3 a day. Well, there might be more than that, but we just went for the 8:30 one so we could be in the park earlier and then have the rest of the day after the tour was over. I booked the tour on the phone before we went to Disney World, just to make sure we got allocated a space, because I think that the tour groups themselves are about 12 to 15 people. And so I do recommend phoning up and booking it, because I'm sure they probably do fill up quite quickly, especially if you choose a day you want to do it on. One of the things you are told for the Keys to Kingdom tour is that you can't bring cameras with you, because they don't want you to obviously take photographs behind the scenes of the things that you see and then, ruin the magic of Disney. So we annoyingly left our phones, the cameras, everything at home in the hotel room, just because we didn't want to get told, to go back to the hotel to drop everything off. We just left everything there. We then came on the tour, and there were people there with their DSLRs, their everything, and we were there completely, electronically naked.
We literally look around like,
oh my
what?
God! I mean, you can bring cameras with you, but you can't take photographs backstage.
Yeah.
That's what it is kind of saying. It's not saying you're not have any electronics at all. You obviously can't take photographs behind the scenes, but you can when you're there, which would have saved us quite a lot of time, because we obviously have to then go back to our hotel to pick up all our stuff again.
I think a lot of people are worried that a tour like this would actually ruin the magic for them, but I don't think it does.
No, they do recommend that the tour isn't taken by under 12-year-olds,
Yeah.
for children, just for young people who don't want to, ruin the magic, to find out the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Not like it's seedy or anything, and making it out like it sounds like it's like some sort of dark, deep world of Disney. It's just that they, will reveal things and you get to ask loads of questions.
Okay, so basically I'm going to take you through little bits of the tour. I'm not going to go into detail because, hey, it might ruin it. But basically what I want to talk about is what you could expect on the tour.
Hi, that's Siri.
Hi Siri.
Shut up! That's weird.
That's strange. So, yeah, like we said, we started the tour at 8:30 in the morning.
Don't be late, otherwise they won't let you catch up with the group.
Indeed. You begin the tour just to the right as you enter the park, so where you meet Magic Mickey, Tinkerbell, before you can go in there. So you're sitting down waiting for your tour guide, and you're all given an earpiece, I think.
Yes.
Yes, we're given an earpiece. So you can actually hear her. So the tour started with us walking down Main Street, where we were told a few different information about the construction of Main Street, why it looks the way it does. There's writing in the windows. She gives us a few clues about that.
Yeah, the names in the windows. There's lots of names. If you didn't know, when you go down Main Street, look up at the windows and you will see lots of people's names.
Indeed. And then we stopped off in a sort of an alcove section as you're walking towards the park. There's a sort of little road that goes off. And I think she was explaining how much detail there was in Walt Disney World in certain places that not everyone visits. I think that's where we heard people yelling from the windows.
Yeah, there's a singing lesson going on, someone doing tap dancing. And that was, I think that's off, when you walk down Main Street, then there's like a left turn, right turn, where you can have your portraits done. And I think it's just like, maybe it's like next to Starbucks or something.
Yeah, it's just a road. I think what she was trying to explain is that every single part of Walt Disney World has been thought of.
And she did go through why Florida, why did Walt Disney choose Florida, and how he bought the land and the dramas that took place in that aspect as well.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting to know. The tour guide spoke about the layout of Main Street and Walt Disney's vision in regards to how you can envision the castle, and as you're walking down Main Street, the castle's a lot further away than you anticipate it to be, because you can see it so clearly when you get to the park, go to the front of the park. Then you keep walking, you're like, wow, it's really far away actually.
Yeah.
And the whole layout and why Walt Disney decided to do it that way. And
it's really fascinating, the whole thing, and you just pick up these little details and you're like, wow. So when we left Main Street, as it were, walked past the partner statue, we went down to Adventureland, where we were told about Dole Whips and the Florida bird?
The orange Florida bird.
The one with the giant head, little body. And then we went on to the Jungle Cruise.
Yes, you go on the back entrance. So it's basically like having a fast pass for the Jungle Cruise, because you just jump the queue and got your own boat. Well, not our own boat. The tour got its own boat.
Yeah. But on this Jungle Cruise, the skipper wasn't actually telling us any jokes about the thing. We were told about the construction of the Jungle Cruise and the original ideas that they had. I think one of them was Walt Disney wanted live animals.
Yes. Could you imagine?
That would have been fun. But then we also learned about the tricks, the sort of show business tricks they do to enable the ride to be really good.
Yeah. That's enough for that. We don't want to ruin that anymore for you.
Exactly. So after the Jungle Cruise ride, we walked up past the tiki rooms. I think we were told a few facts about the animatronics in there.
Yeah.
We can't really remember it.
Yeah.
And then we walked down past Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and then just behind Splash Mountain there's a wooden gate that we were taken past.
Yeah, so this is where the woman said, we're now going backstage, all cameras, electronics need to be put away for obvious reasons, and so we went behind the wooden gate, which is really, we were walking behind, I was like, oh my god, I feel like I'm breaking so many rules.
It was really fun. But then we walked around there and we were sort of shown the parade floats. So at that time the electrical parade was there. So we got to see the warehouse with all the floats inside. There was a group of dancers doing tricks. Yeah,
there's dancers practicing their Halloween parade, I think. Because obviously the Halloween hadn't started yet, but obviously they had to have been rehearsing. So it was them walking down doing their thing. And the woman was talking about something and I was just like, shh, I'm watching them dance.
But it's really funny. You kind of see the back sides of all the rides, the main rides, and it's funny to see that on stage they look amazing, but off stage you're just like,
it's just another building.
It's a structure.
You see the back of Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
And it's something that even if you wanted to see it on the ride, you wouldn't be able to see back down to where we were standing. And it's just like this massive massive thing of water, just constantly flowing of water, and obviously all that water's recycled back into the ride, and it's just like, wow.
It's incredible to see some of the stuff that's there.
And then after the tour of the backstage area, we then sat down, and this is the time, I think it's the only time, we could talk to the woman and ask her any questions we had about Disney World, about the characters, about the cast, about any ways that things are portrayed, how some of the fireworks work, just anything you could ask that you can't ask when you're in the parks, because if there's obviously children around and she's saying, by the way, so-and-so does this, and you think, oh god, you can't ruin it for the kids. So it's a really good time to kind of understand things.
Yeah, I mean everyone has questions that you're dying to know.
Yeah, because if you meet a character and you come away and you go, how does that not happen, or who is that, and things like that, and you could ask those things and she answered them truthfully. Yeah.
She did warn us in the beginning that if we were to ask her any questions that were backstage questions, she would give us an on-stage answer, just in case there were kids around.
Yes.
So you're aware that if you were to go, she'll go, magic.
Yeah, it's magic dust, pixie dust.
Yeah, but I think from there...
We then had lunch, didn't we?
We had lunch. We can't really... It was in Tomorrowland where we had lunch.
Yeah, I feel like it's not really a restaurant. I think it must be a restaurant, but I think where we had it is where you can have the dessert party, the wishes, not anymore, dessert party. Which is like, you look over onto Main Street, but you're in Tomorrowland. And it was basically burgers and crisps, not chips. Crisps, and we got given a pin, a little key pin.
Yes.
Which was really nice. And because we were 2 people, I think other people were more families and then a couple of single people, we were actually sat with the tour guide, which was really interesting because we could ask her about herself and her experiences at Disney. Obviously nothing too personal, but we could actually have a conversation with her.
And she was telling us about the best times to go, and it's really fun to hear what she had done, because I think she went on a graduation or the grad scheme, but she'd worked her way up, and to hear how she'd worked on all those different rides. Yeah,
because she used to be a skipper on the Jungle Cruise.
Yeah.
And she also was telling us about a tour that you can do, which is like a Walt Disney history tour, which is on Disney and off property as well, isn't it? Yeah. Which you think maybe we should do that next time we go.
After lunch, we were all fed and we're all happy dappy. We went on to the Haunted Mansion ride. Again, we were all sort of treated with fast passes, but we went round the back, so we went in the exit really.
I think there wasn't in the exit. We went in the
staff exit.
We went in the staff way because one of the people we went into actually opened the door into the staff room, and there were people there just like dressed in their, their Haunted Mansion costumes with their white faces, like, huh? Get out of here!
So yeah, we went on the ride and we were told about looking out for hidden Mickeys that are on the ride.
And how certain things are done. I think there's the question of the dancing scene in the dining hall that people can't figure it out. And she did explain it to us, but I still don't understand how they do it. It's confusing.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, I mean, she did say to how it was worked, and everyone was sort of like, huh? I don't understand. How did they come up with this?
After the ride, we were all sort of waiting outside near the tombstones, and she told us to look right at the back on one of the sides, and there was a tombstone for Mr. Toad, and then she said that the reason he was there was a nod towards the ride existing in Disney World once upon a time, but it is now Winnie the Pooh.
That's something to look out for when you're next on the Haunted Mansion ride. Look for the gravestone for Mr. Toad at the back, and when you come out of the ride, have a look and see.
Boom, boom!
I don't know.
That's what Mr. Toad does.
And then after the ride, we all then went to Liberty Square, and we sat down for about half an hour, I think that was, where she kind of just went through discussing why Liberty Square is how it is, obviously with the brown on the floor and stuff, that's obviously sewage, which is common knowledge, I would expect.
Show us about the big tree in Liberty Square as well, which was something that Walt Disney envisioned being there, and so it was moved and driven across country and placed in Liberty Square.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I just remembered it.
I don't remember that at all. And we just spoke about how the attention to detail again that Walt Disney had for the parks.
Each house around Liberty Square is supposed to represent a house through American history. So the shutters are different, and some of them are wonky and some of them are off. So that was quite good. There's a lot to take in on this sort of tour. But when you come away, and I mean, it'd be really handy if you had pictures so you could look back at it.
I know. She also does talk about the castle as well, and how the perspective works with the castle, the vision behind the castle, and all that jazz. And then the best part of the tour,
Utilidors. Yay! So we went round into one of the shops just next to the castle.
And if you didn't know already, but I'm sure you do, there's that whole room with underneath Magic Kingdom, and lots of tunnels which cast members use to get from A to B, and that's where we went.
Yay!
Underground, and we saw all the tunnels.
Yeah, I mean, we learned a bit of history of the tunnels, like why they exist, which is this a spoiler? No, it's fact. So, the reason why the Utilidors exist, this is what we were told, is because when Disneyland opened in California, Walt Disney was walking around and he saw a cowboy walk through Tomorrowland going on his break, and he was like, what? This cannot happen.
Cowboys don't exist in the future.
Exactly. So the idea when they went to build Walt Disney World, the tunnels were underneath, so the cast members and characters could go to their direct lands without being seen, therefore not ruining the magic.
Yes, which is why they are there, and it's great, and it's so fun to actually go and see them, because you feel like, wow. Obviously going backstage to see the parades, I thought, wow, this is bad. Going underground, it's like, oh my god, I feel like royalty. It's so fun. It's just really cool to see. And we did see Aurora.
Yeah.
Was she in tracksuit bottoms?
She was in a tracksuit. She had a crown on, and obviously she was done up, but she was just in a tracksuit.
She was obviously having a bit of a day off
Yeah.
from visiting meeting visitors in the park, which was just funny to see. And there's one thing in the Utilidor Underground which I was just drawn to. Unfortunately, we weren't allowed to go over there. They have a little pin shop, and obviously the cast members, when they're wearing pins, they don't own the pins. That's why they can easily trade them with you. So they have a little pin shop, so where cast members, where they've got spaces on the lanyards, they can just go and get any old pin to put on their lanyard.
Yeah.
And I was just like, can I go over there and get free pins?
This is Caroline, who didn't want to collect pins when we first went.
Oh, it was so fun. It's just because you're like, oh my god, there's only pins over there. Just one thing about Utilidors, which you will say, is that they play music. But not Disney music. Remember?
No.
Because obviously you're in Disney, all you do is listen to Disney music. She was saying that they play like top 40 kind of music underground, so people don't get sort of like brain dead. But then when it was Frozen came out, obviously Let It Go was on the radio all the time, so that's what was on. You're like, this is what we wanted. So yeah, it's just funny, just an interesting fact. You know, that I'm ruining for people that want to go on the Keys to the Kingdom tour. So I'm sure it's not too much of a problem.
Yeah. So after we explored the Utilidors,
I'd say we were down there for about an hour.
Yeah.
Maybe 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, after we'd sort of explored those to the extent of which we're allowed to, we then came up and we were just opposite. It's hard to explain because Disney is so strange. When you're seeing it backstage, there's so many different tricks and illusions. I'm doing this because it's like buildings are this close, but the path is here and it's covered up by another building here, so you never know where you're coming out. I remember walking through the exit like, where are we? And then we were like, boom, we're here. And you're like,
because we went into the Utilidor under beside the back of the castle, and then we were walking around under there. Then we came out at the front of the park.
Yeah.
And you're just like, huh?
How am I here?
I think it was the side where the parades come out, or it was the opposite side.
So that was fun. And then I think that was it.
That was the end of the tour.
Yeah, that was the end of the tour, and it lasted about 5 hours. So like we said earlier, it was a 5-hour walking tour. You got given lunch and you did go on 2 rides. Yes, and it was just really, really good. There's a lot of information to take in. It does not ruin the magic. For me anyway, it has not even... If Disney is more of a passion for just more knowledge, then it's fine, because it's really interesting, because we both went on it and we went on it to sort of learn more about the parks. Whereas if you're going to Disney for the magic only, then perhaps it's not for you. Yeah, valid reason. Yeah, because we like to know about how Disney works in itself, but... Yeah, I mean, for us, the whole thing is very fascinating. The ideas just stem from... It's an idea that we like, isn't it? Whereas, like I said, if you've got children, then this tour is not for them. I think there's an age limit anyway. I think you're not allowed to go on it if you're under 12. I think I remember seeing that somewhere. You can't go on if you're a certain age. Especially if you've got kids who... maybe are teenagers and still the magic is still there slightly, it might not be for them. But yes, that was a brief, hopefully hasn't touched on too many of the secret things that the Keys to the Kingdom tour provides. We definitely recommend it, like we say, if you're into learning more about Disney as a whole, because it's very informative and you come away thinking, that's how it's done. That's amazing. And like for me, I'm not good. It hasn't ruined the magic, but like just to reiterate, if you do want to do the tour, it is expensive. Just be wary of that. You can bring cameras and arrive early, because we were there and there were some people that had missed the tour previously that went ahead of us. Yeah. Because I think the monorail had slowed them down, and they were like, "Sorry, you can't go on it anymore. The tour's left. You can't go." And it's just like, no, because obviously if you'd scheduled that day specifically for that tour, you won't have another spare 5 hours elsewhere to do anything, so exactly, just keep that in mind. But I think that's it for this video. I mean, hopefully it actually helps people who perhaps are interested in the Keys to the Kingdom tour. I mean, we can only say so much. Yeah, we don't want it to ruin it, basically. Obviously, you don't want to pay money and then we've told you all the information. Yeah, very badly. Really bitty and kind of remembering it. There are lots of tours you can do at Disney, so if Keys to the Kingdom is not the one for you, it doesn't sound like something you're interested in, there are tours you can do in Animal Kingdom, at Epcot, Hollywood Studios, there's loads of tours everywhere, so just do your research if you wanted to do one. Well, thank you for watching. Yes. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Yay! We're going to Disneyland Paris this time next week, we will be there. But anywho, thank you for watching, and we shall see you next time.
Bye!
Bye!